Becca Tobin joins me now. Gang, gang, good to see you.
I love seeing you. You look gorgeous.
Oh, so do you. I love it. Okay, the reason I can tell people Becca's podcast is called LadyGang, and I happen to be on it recently, so we're all gang, gang now. The podcast started in 2015. I had so much fun with you and Kelty. You just keep it real. You talk about everything. I was stunned to hear you didn't know what a podcast was when you started the podcast.
I didn't. I was having a lunch with Kelty where we were crying over our salads about how hard Hollywood is. And she said to me, you know, we need to create something that's all our own. And no one's going to give us a talk show. Nobody's going to just hand us anything. So what if we did a podcast? And I said, I'm so sorry. I have no idea what that is. Because at the time it was like Adam Carolla and all of these heavy hitters, but they were all really men mostly. So we created one of the first female-centric podcasts, and now it's like there's millions and everyone knows what a podcast is, but it was not the case.
As I said when I was on the show, we talked about IVF, and you discussed how you'd been trying to conceive a few years ago. You were in your early 30s. You suffered miscarriages, and you had this life moment where fear and doubt and expectations of life all seeped in.
Yeah, it was a real tough time in my life, to be honest. I had spent so much of my 20s and the ideal baby-making time building this career so that by the time I had the family, I felt ready, which I know no one's ever ready, but I'm focused on the career. I'm singing and dancing and acting, and I just didn't think that by the time I would start to try that it would be so challenging. And I know that sounds naive, but the more that I open up about it with other women, the more I realize that that's the case for a lot of women.
Oh, I understand. I mean, listen, when I was on the show with you, I often cite that song from Bonnie Raitt, Scared to Run Out of Time. And that does happen where you suddenly, after a certain age, your 30s and on, you start to look at the clock and it feels different. And also perspective of life feels different. We mentioned that you were on Glee, huge success on that show. I know the cast reunited not long ago and shared their stories of Naya Rivera and their experiences. And you talked about just getting awestruck watching her perform. I know that when she passed away, we were in the middle of all of the pandemic, and it was a story that stopped me in my tracks as a mom, as a woman, you know, and at the age I am, where you do wonder, in a second, life can change. How have you processed this through the eyes of now a mature woman and someone who knew her personally about how life sometimes is too short and unfair?
I mean, you nailed it. I think that those couple days where we didn't know what happened, just thinking about how much she loved that baby boy. I mean, he was her everything, her life. We saw this. She is an incredible, incredible human before motherhood. But having Josie was like, just catapulted her into this bright and shiny, beaming, happy, strong person. I'm just so grateful she had those years to be a mother and really fulfill that part of her that, you know, she deserved to have. And I'm just, you know, I'm happy that he's doing well, and he has an incredible, incredible legacy that everybody will always talk about forever.
Yeah, and
as a
he
mother.
will hear people like you say beautiful things about his mother, who was resilient in so many ways when you know her story of being a child actor, much like yourself, growing up in this business. And that's one of the things I also admire about you is your resilience, your ability to evolve and adapt to a podcast when you didn't know what a podcast meant, and to find your way back on screen in Turner and Hooch, which I just love. I mean, when they first, did you know of the original Turner and Hooch before you saw the script for this?
You know, it was actually came out the year I was born. So I had known about it. I had heard it. I had never seen it until I had the audition.
I mean, well, I was not born. I was probably 50 when it started, but when it came out. But I loved it. I loved it. You're playing alongside Josh Peck as his love interest. The third star is Hooch, the same kind of slobbery, massive dog that everyone fell in love with. What was harder? Are you a fan of dogs? Do you have a dog? I mean, are you?
I have I have a dog, and it is an unhealthy obsession that I have. So being on set with like 5 French Mastiffs was a dream of a lifetime. Actors always say don't work with kids and
Right.
don't work with animals. It just makes shooting harder. I disagree. Like, bring me all the dogs. I want to be covered in
A
dogs.
dog that
Every dog.
big? Because I should have said, are you a big dog person or a small dog person? I know you like dogs, but big dogs, small dogs, that's a debate.
It's different, and I think I've always had smaller dogs because I lived in like a 300 square foot apartment in New York City, my first dog, and I just got used to that. Being able to travel around with the dog is good too, but I have dreams of bigger dogs now that I've been around all of these dogs. It's kind of like a big pony. Like, it's
A
crazy their
big
body.
pony until you walk that pony. And then you have to figure out the rest. Well,
Not ever.
congratulations. I can tell it's a no work day. You're in a white suit. You would not be in a white suit around that dog drooling all over it.
Absolutely not.
You look beautiful. Congratulations on everything. And I can't wait to watch the show.
Thanks so much, Tamron.